Hi, I'm Jennifer Massey with the Chunky Bead Boutique and San Antonio Beads. Today we're going to be talking about how to finish off your necklace by attaching a toggle clasp using crimp tubes and crimp covers. This is an example of one of the necklace kits that we sell on the Chunky Bead Boutique. It's a little girl Valentine necklace. And you'll notice that when we sell our kits, they come with all your beads and spacers and pendant, but you purchase the findings separately. And findings would be your wire, crimp tubes, wire guards if you use them, crimp covers, and any kind of clasp. So we're going to use this cute little heart toggle clasp since it's Valentine's Day. And we're going to start by, let's see, putting our crimp tube, which is this teeny tiny little 2mm silver tube. I like to use these silver plated ones by the Beadsmith, and we do sell those on San Antonio Beads. They're a little more expensive, but I feel like they're a little stronger. However, we do have more cost-effective options available on the Chunky Bead Boutique. All right, so we've got our crimp tube on the wire, and then we're going to take one end of our clasp and string it on the wire. There we go. And then we take our wire and run it back through our crimp tube, making a little loop like this. Now on the loop, can you see that? Okay, on the loop, you want it to not be huge like this because you don't want a lot of leeway, and you don't want it to be so tight that your toggle can't move. So you want it to just hang freely like that. So a little loop about that size is perfect. And then you just take your flat nose pliers right over your crimp tube and you smash it flat. Doesn't require much force. Now notice how the wires are side by side. They're not crossed. You want to make sure that they don't cross when you are flattening your crimp tube. All right, you take this extra little bit of wire and we're going to string it back through the top two beads of the necklace, and then grab our cutters and snap off that little bit. Okay, now you'll notice that when I string my necklaces, I like to leave them on the spool because it helps you to save wire. Usually if you're cutting the wire first and then stringing it, you're going to leave like 4 inches on each side, and you're going to end up with a lot of little pieces of wire sitting around. So now we just cut off a piece that was about maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches, and we're going to have this little piece left that we're going to use here. So taking the other side of your wire, cut off, leave yourself a couple of inches. That's probably a little more than you need. And we're going to get our other crimp tube, string it on. This cute little toggle clasp comes with an extra charm, and we're going to go ahead and put that charm on after our crimp tube, and then our bar. And going around the charm, we're going to go right through the crimp tube and through the first 2 beads of the necklace. Okay, now we've got our extra wire over here and we've got this big loop here, and this is how you're going to tighten it up. You're going to grab your wire with your flat nose pliers and grab the bar with one hand and just pull until you get that little loop again. So now you've got it tight. You don't want a lot of space in between your beads because you don't want them to be loose. And lay it down when you've got it tight, and come back up here to your crimp tube and just flatten it. Okay, and now take your cutters and cut off this little extra piece of wire. Okay, so we've got all of that done. Now we're going to add one more thing. These are called crimp covers, and a crimp cover, it looks like a C. It's going to end up looking like just an extra spacer at the top of your necklace. You're going to take the crimp cover and put it around the crimp tube, and then you're going to take your flat nose pliers and just flatten it. I mean, not flatten it, close it. There we go. Close it up to cover that. It makes it a little more comfortable so the crimp tube doesn't scratch, especially when we're making these necklaces for little girls. We want it to scratch their little necks. And so it looks just like an extra spacer at the top of your necklace. Show you that one more time. Got your crimp cover. We're going to go around the flattened crimp tube, and then we're going to flatten it with, oops. We're going to flatten it with our pliers. Okay, really? There we go. I'm going to take them across the top too and just make sure that the edges are down soft. Okay. Here we go. We've got our necklace all done. We've got our toggle clasp on and our crimp covers. And I can use my big hands on this little bitty clasp. That's how you attach a toggle clasp to a necklace using crimp tubes and crimp covers. For more tips and ideas and all your jewelry making supplies, find us on Facebook at the Chunky Bead Boutique or San Antonio Beads.